Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this next part of the stream. I've already actually done an intro for the stream people, so this is just ringing YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Chat, say hello to YouTube. So yeah, we start with just the city of Zhangyang. We start with an army, which is exactly this. In fact, I haven't changed this at all. So it is commanded by Liu Biao himself. He is scholarly, which gives him extra expertise, extra cunning, and also more character experience. So this guy levels up quickly. He is indecisive, which increases expertise, decreases authority, decreases character experience. Really, scholarly counters indecisive. That's annoying. Enemy spies cost more, and he doesn't want independence if he's an administrator, and he's elusive. +6 cunning, +2 instinct, +5% chance of evading capture, +10 income from commerce, silk, and spice if he administers a commandery, which is what the cities in this are called. And he has a -10% chance of discovery when performing spy actions. And then he has a character tree down here. So currently he's got dignity, which is plus instinct. His retinue is disciplined. I think he's got this skill. I find it very difficult to tell which skills I actually own and which ones are available. Now, who was it that I leveled up? It was you. And I got you these two skills. See, I think these two are available. I haven't actually selected them. And that one is available. I don't really know. That's one part of the UI which is a little bit shaky. In the beginning of the game, you're at war with the Yellow Turbans. They are rebels, basically. And they owned the toolmaker of Zhangyang, which we invaded. We had one battle against their army, which we crushed. And then another battle for the town itself. The towns in this fare a little bit more like Attila, in that small towns will have, like, towers, but no walls. And then the big cities, I think, are fully fledged sieges, which is what this guy would be. We took that. We did take quite heavy losses, but we did win. And now we're just letting our forces replenish, ready to march on the next enemy, which is down here. So we are currently at war with He Yi, which are these guys. We have got two vassals in Kai Mao and Huang Zhu. We start with those guys, and we're currently trading with them for food supplies. So we start very low on food. Like, our food production is terrible. So we were kind of starving until I realized that. Then we started buying in food. I bought in too much because I didn't realize how food mechanics worked. So basically, every province has a food modifier down here, which is how much they're losing. What I didn't realize is food is actually a global resource, which you can see up here. So we are actually gaining 2 because we're buying in 5 from diplomacy. I bought in 3. I was like, okay, I've covered my food. Wait, why does that still say -3? Without realizing it was actually balanced out up here. So we're doing pretty good. I really hope watching this gets easy once the game is out. I'm getting so lost on names and stuff. Me too. I mean, that is one of the downsides to this being, at least for me, a far less familiar region. But then it's going to be kind of similar to playing as India in Dharma for EU4. Like, you will get used to it. I'm already getting a lot more used to the different character names and stuff. And also, it's kind of refreshing not being Western-focused. Always a supporter of Cao Cao. See, I was really tempted to play as Liu Biao when I started this, but I think that everyone's either going to be playing as Liu Biao or Cao Cao, and I was like, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. And as I said, Liu Biao has stuck out to me ever since they started announcing the various different legendary lords. So I decided to stick with him. One of the other governors is all about trade. Like, his ability is just being stupendously wealthy. And he also has a lot of education and research. So he's kind of similar to this guy, but more related to trade. But that seems a lot more advanced mechanics, because you have to worry about things like trade influence, and I have no idea how that works. So I decided to go with what I assumed would be a little bit simpler, but still not Cao Cao or Liu Biao. How am I finding the game? Is it enjoyable? Kamikaze, I can't say if I'm enjoying it or not because this is still the preview period. All I can do is show you the gameplay. I'm just glad the Creative Assembly's gone back to historic games. I like them both. This does do something interesting in that it has a little bit of fantasy. So you'll see these generals. They do fight on the battlefield. They are just one guy, and they fight a little bit similar to heroes and lords from Total War Warhammer, in that they are one superpowered dude who can take on entire units, although depending on their class is how effective they are at that. So, like, you don't want Liu Biao doing that. He's a commander. He's not all about that. However, if you're playing as the historical mode, then they come with a bodyguard, just like the historical series. So if you want it to be more historical, then you can absolutely play that way. I just kind of like the heroic aspects, I guess. Yes, kamikaze, it's my choice. No, I'm not going to. Review embargoes are such a minefield, and the last thing I want is for this channel to get taken down because I say something wrong. So, no, I'm not. Alright, so, we are moving south. As I said, we are at war with He Yi. We're also have poor relations, but are not actually at war with Yuan Shu, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yeah, see, we're only at war with He Yi, which are these guys, and then the Yellow Turbans. Yellow Turbans used to be here, but they have since been wiped out. And we have a very profitable trade agreement with Dong Zhuo. Dong Zhuo is like the tyrant. He's the big bad of this game. And we're happily trading with him. We see him as a legitimate authority, which I think is kind of amusing. Most of the coalition hate this guy. So yeah, we are slowly but surely moving our armies south to go and deal with He Yi, because he's got like an iron mine, which I'd kind of fancy having, and just generally more stuff. And also, these guys are my vassals, so we do actually have contiguous territory. Eventually, we'll try to integrate these guys. One of them is already itching for independence a little bit, so we may need to put them down, but they haven't done so yet. And I think that this was right at the end of the turn, so we're just going to go ahead and end it.
We will both benefit.
So, speaking of Dong Zhuo, he is wanting me to make a payment of 500. He wants a regular payment of 100, and then he wants to form a coalition with me. I'll need to read what exactly that is about. So one of the things that they have worked really hard on in this is improving the diplomacy. Diplomacy in former Total War games was dreadful. And they've definitely taken a page out of Europa Universalis. With like Casus Bellis, they've got different relations with different characters. You can like improve relations, coalitions, alliances, trade agreements. It's a lot more involved now. So, Dong Zhuo invites you to form a coalition establishing a non-binding agreement to fight mutual enemies. So this means that he can call me into wars. He is likely to get into a lot of wars. At the moment, I kind of fancy my chances, plus I don't want to pay him.
It is your choice.
Like, part of my strength is my economy. This is the Han Empire marching through, so this is the legitimate authority. I don't know if Dong Zhuo controls Han or not.
As you gain prestige throughout China, you will be rewarded with a rank befitting your power. Your options and resources will increase in line with your authority.
So at the moment we are ranked as a noble. As soon as I remember where on earth that's shown. There. Over my portrait. Which is like the base level. Everyone in China starts out as just a noble. Then depending on how much territory, how much diplomatic renown, how many alliances and all that stuff you have, and how much prestige you have, your rank increases. And that's when like different coalitions and different power blocks will start to form. So all of that is very dynamic, which is kind of interesting. What specs do I have? GeForce 1080 graphics card. My CPU is about 5 years old, but it seems to handle this so far, and I've got everything on maximum, as far as I'm aware. Let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure I do. Yep, ultra. And seems to run really smooth, actually. Like, a lot of reviewers have been saying that this is...
Your armies take different stances for different purposes. Forced marches will quicken an army's pace, and a fortified stance will put them in a defensive position.
what was I saying? Is one of the most well-optimized games of the Total War franchise thus far. Okay, so we definitely want to recover forces, especially my cavalry kind of got beaten up. Weird that, isn't it? My cavalry got beaten up in a battle. Very strange. And we are one turn away from upgrading our tool workshop.
Construct in a settlement is dependent on its size. Expand your commandery capitals to make room for additional buildings.
And that is actually something I should explain. So your commandery capital, which is what Yangjiang, the city, is all of these buildings up to this line. Then you can also have the smaller villages, which tend to be specialist. So they've taken a similar system to Total War Saga Thrones of Britannia, in that your villages will have like a resource that they produce. So for example, we have the toolmaker here. It's just a single building. It is a fortified building. As you can see, it does have a garrison. There are 4 infantry and 3 cavalry. And it does have towers which shoot. So they are a lot more difficult to take than the little villages in Attila, but they're certainly not as powerful as the main cities where you have a lot more control. And the bigger the city is, the more build slots you unlock. I don't actually know how big a city we have compared to what's possible. We can upgrade it to a large city. In fact, I wonder if there's a... Aha, build line. Here we go. Small town, town, large town, small city, city, large city, small regional city, regional city, large regional city, imperial city. So we're about halfway up the chain, so there is a lot more construction we can do. Also, we're going to be getting the advisor things popping up every now and then, because this is still technically the tutorial. There isn't a tutorial per se, there's just the help system as you're playing, and that is what we're doing. You are replenishing. We have 1 turn until the toolmaker. So at the moment we're waiting for the toolmaker to get built, because the toolmaker reduces the construction cost of education buildings, and I want to upgrade my education buildings. Cav should do the killing, not be the killing.
The type of terrain your army crosses will affect the speed of their movements and their supply chain. Plan your routes carefully to avoid unnecessary draining of your supplies.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, Cav... High Cavalry Marshal Bussy says Cav should do the killing, not be the killing. Actually, they did do a lot of killing. The cavalry were actually pretty effective in the battle against these guys, but because I sent them in through a back entrance, they got shot up by one of the towers pretty badly. Okay, so we have finished the toolmaker, which is going to be increasing the amount of money we make. We could upgrade it, theoretically, to a tool depot. However, the learning and market construction cost reduction doesn't actually change between levels. I wish I'd known that. And now that I know that, I can right-click on it and have found that out previously. That would have been quite useful. But I really want to upgrade the county school... Sorry. Yeah, county school to a county academy, and then upgrade from there. So one of the things that we're all about is extra experience for characters. And this does increase faction-wide character experience. So I want to keep my academy upgrading. We could also upgrade the defenses to get ourselves some more troops, but I don't think that's going to be really worth it right now. So how are you doing for replenishment? This unit was completely wiped out, so they're replenishing from minimum. Everyone else seems to be doing okay. We're good to just end. When did I get access to 3 Kingdoms? Yesterday morning. Sorry, this morning. I forget exactly when. I was recording this until about 8 o'clock this morning, and then rendering and uploading it until about 11 o'clock this morning, and then went to bed for 5 hours. So I'm a little bit tired. Honourable versus deceitful. You're in discussion with one of your scholars. You put it to him that honour is the ultimate virtue, unassailable and true. He returns that honour and virtue may take one's soul rich, but never one's pockets. Penniless is the virtuous man. Victorious is the pragmatic leader. He laughs. So we can choose honour, which greatly increases the relationship between us and Huangzong. Huangzong is like our old esteemed general, and like our bestie. We can choose deceit, which will improve our relations with the wife, Lady Kai. This choice requires that you do not have the following trait. Honourable requires that you do not have the following trait. Deceitful, or we can just ignore it. Well, this character really is all about honour, seeing as he's trying to preserve the old guard, so we're going to stick with honour. Sorry, Lady Kai. Actually, it doesn't seem to decrease relations with Kai. It just increases them with Huang Zong, which is good. And he is, like, our best general, I would say.
The war for China's spirit will require heroic generals to lead the charge and inspire others with their deeds. Generals can be drafted to support your armies or strike the enemy directly.
So we can see the generals have different stats. So we have expertise, which reduces construction cost if they are administering a commandery. Also increases melee evasion by plus 37. Huang Zong has an incredible amount of expertise. You will see that expertise goes from basically 0 to 200. If you have a thin line here, that's up to 100. Then once the line goes thick, you have over 100 to the 200. So you can see his expertise is excellent. He's got okay resolve, which increases his health by 20% and also increases population growth if he administers the commandery. He is somewhat cunning, he has a bit of extra ammo, and he provides additional supplies if he is the army general, which he's not. So the retinue is the troops directly under him. So every general has a retinue of soldiers that they command personally. The units in the retinue will benefit from the traits of their immediate commander. I don't know if the army commander provides abilities or if it's just things like here, the military supplies, cunning. So if Liu Biao being the army general, because he's the first one here, he probably would be adding extra supplies. We have very poor instinct, only 36, which adds 2% melee damage, so we do naff all damage, and recruitment cost is reduced by 1%. If he was the general, he's not, so it's fine. And then authority, 71. He has plus 3 satisfaction faction-wide. If he is the Prime Minister, the heir, or the faction leader, he's not, so that's irrelevant. And then plus 6 morale for his own retinue. So if we compare that to Liu Biao, for example, he has an incredible...
destiny is revealed by the traits that emerge over the course of their life. These will be embodied as strengths and weaknesses that shape their actions.
He has an incredible amount of authority, so he has plus 6 satisfaction faction-wide, plus his plus 10 from his faction ability, plus he has some other stuff which I think increases satisfaction. So like I said, like anyone who works with this guy, super loyal. And he also increases the morale of his personal unit. You can recruit additional forces within those units. You can do that by pressing recruit, and then this box appears.
A newly recruited unit will report for duty immediately, but will continue to muster for some time before reaching full capacity.
Different character classes have access to different units. You can see the colors are related to the different classes. So purple is sentinel, green is commander. No, green is strategist, blue is something, red is vanguard, yellow is commander. Yeah, green is strategist. And then if we flip between the different characters, we can see that they have access to different units depending on their class. So he gets a lot of line infantry, he gets a couple of archers, and then a lot of cavalry. He gets a little bit of everything, though mostly good cavalry. And then he gets the best line infantry and the best archers, so he's all about infantry. So I think in terms of like how I play, Sentinel all the way, but I did like the idea of having a commander in place. So the first thing we need to do... Go away. Let's click on you, because someone was saying that there is harmony and disharmony within armies, depending on whether they like us or not. So Huang Zhu really likes us. But he really dislikes our general. So we should probably replace this guy. Oh, that's how you appoint them to be the commanding general. Alright, so how do I replace you? I can tell you to stand down somehow. That's how. And then we can bring in somebody else. So we can see whether they like us. So Lo Gui likes us. Quang Liang likes us. Pu Shunli likes us. And all the others will have problems with somebody in the army. So apparently this harmony-disharmony is kind of an important deal. We have lost our cavalry commander, so bringing in Lao Gui I think would be a good idea actually. He has low satisfaction, but that should increase in time. How are his stats? Ah, they're over here. So he's got good instinct, which is useful. So my cavalry commander tends to be the one who charges out with the cavalry and tries to kill stuff. So high instinct means more killing power, which is strong. So I think having him be a red guy is what I want to do here. So I think we are going to bring you in. Congratulations. Getting a strategist for formations would be good. True. But we already have a commander who can increase unit abilities. Not as good as a strategist. No, I think... Ironically, I actually do want a cavalry commander, because they have been very useful. Although it doesn't need to be a dedicated cavalry commander, that's true. What are the strategists? Green? The only one we've got is Kugong. And he's disharmony. And Cheng Yi, who's disharmony. No, we're going to go with Lao Gui. Now, what's that icon mean? Don't know. Oh, that's their class, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay. His upkeep's quite high. And this should increase his satisfaction too.
Your generals and their retinues gain experience in battle, increasing their effectiveness. You must balance using their experience to fight the tougher battles, while making sure you don't waste them on doomed battles.
Wait, strategists are blue? Who's green then? See, this is one of the parts of the game I am still learning. Blue is strategy, yellow is commander, green is champion. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Probably should change who's the student. Yes, I will do that in a moment. Do I want you to recruit some more cavalry? Because you do have access to the mounted saber militia and also the raider cavalry. Because at the moment we've got just the mounted lancers, who have really good melee power but terrible morale. You know what, that's actually okay. I'm okay with this composition. And do you want to build any more troops? I really do want some Jian sword guards. The only problem is they're kind of expensive. You know what, recruit me 2 of those. That basically costs all of my money, but I think that's worth it. And then also going to the court and choosing who the student is. Can't apparently do that for the next month, and then we'll need to replace him. And we'll probably make him the student. Lao Gui instead. Ah, and then these are all the candidates. So, candidates are characters who are basically available for recruitment. They are people who will move between different nations. If you fire someone, they become a candidate again. And you can also put characters loyal to yourself into somebody else's candidate pool. And if you do that, then there's a chance that they'll get recruited, and they're basically a spy. So they're working for the other guy, they do all the battles, the governing and all that stuff, they gain skills and experience in their role, whatever they're given. But you can still interact with them and basically say, hey, that guy is quite wealthy, wouldn't you, you know, pass me a couple of ducats? And depending on how good a spy they are, they'll do it. Also, there was a bit of history going on. Lady Kai was historically quite devious and ruined Liu Biao's estate and lands by asking her son to hand it all over as soon as Cao Cao appeared. So, okay. Noted. Liu Kong, what are you upset about? Oh, you don't like Liu Qi as well. Okay, neither of you like this guy. He's really dislikable. Liu Kong was useless historically, handed everything over to Cao Cao. Liu Qi should be your heir. I think I can do that. Yeah, we can banish him. If we talk to you... It would cost a lot. No, not going to do it. Alright, let's close this and go back to here. Liu Biao has actually just leveled up as well. So, these ones are the available abilities. So he has already got these two. So it does just highlight everything you've already got and only highlights these when you're available to upgrade. So we can get mobility, plus 8 authority, plus 10 morale when attacking, and he is the overall battle commander. and plus 25% battle running speed for his own retinue. Flexibility, resolve, redeployment cost down, and plus 5 replenishment. I do like my replenishment. Nature's ally, plus 4 cunning, plus 4 authority, passive buff, plus 25% speed, and plus 10 morale, and they ignore forest penalties. Now, is that just for him? Or is that for all units in his retinue? And then understanding. Unlocks assignment, industrial exploitation. Plus 8 expertise. Plus 1 starting rank for all recruits. Faction wide. See, that's kind of potent. Now, was anything increasing authority? Mobility does. Nature's ally does. Understanding increases expertise. Expertise is construction cost, but only if he's administering commandery. Authority is the faction-wide satisfaction. I do like doubling down on that. But mobility for itself seems like the least useful. What's this one? Stone Bulwark. Plus 100% ranged block chance. Unbreakable. I think this is just for those characters. So this gives him speed and morale. I guess that's mostly for just getting out of harm's way. And he's very rarely in harm's way. So I'm going to go with mobility. Unlocks assignment industrial exploitation. So if we go to here and then assignments.
People will move to your settlements as they develop. As your population grows, it will strengthen your economy. But be wary of rapid expansion, in case there's not enough food to feed the masses.
Okay, so the assignment bonuses are these. I don't think he can be given an assignment because he's a faction leader. So him having extra assignments is pointless. So we're going to go for the mobility. We're going to double down on that authority. Like so. Okay, do we want to recruit any other troops? Because this guy has such an insane amount of morale, I'm wondering if we want to increase the troops that you yourself are commanding.
Artillery can wreak havoc on the enemy from range, especially when targeting walls and fortifications. However, because of this, they will be prime targets for the enemy and need protection.
I think only strategists can have artillery, so that's not relevant to my interests right now. And we can't actually recruit anyone else. Was there a AoE range? Effect range, 75 meters. You're right, okay. So that would have been everyone around him, and this is the same. Alright, good to know. Well spotted. Totally would have missed that. Sailing down the river. Boats confirmed. Zhang Yan has declared war on the Yellow Turbans. The Elder Statesman provides for his people first. Our economy grows. Minus 20% construction cost faction-wide and minus 1 construction time. And that's because we built our school. War will always come, and Liu Biao will be ready. Although war has been best left to others, my lord, there is no choice now but to forge your legacy in the crucible of battle. You will need to muster more forces, raising armies that can defend China against all enemies. And we need to have at least 15 units. Plus 50 bonus experience for units per season, faction-wide, and plus 10 replenishment, faction-wide. Dao Chan, the minister Wang Yun, fearing the tyranny of Dong Zhuo, sends his adopted daughter to the capital. His plan is to have her destroy the relationship between Dong Zhuo and his adopted son Liu Biao. Okay, so now we have harmony. These guys are still recruiting. These two are still recruiting. We have a little bit of money, but I kind of like to keep things upgrading if we can.